Hello everyone, I'm Georgia Henderson, Public Information Director for the City of Douglas. Thank you for watching Douglas on My Mind. When we come back, we're going to have two guests from the City of Douglas to share some news with you. Stay tuned, we'll be back right after this break. We're back from break, and thanks for continuing to watch Douglas on My Mind. Joining me now on the show is Rodger Goddard, who is our City Marshal. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
Glad to have you here now. Prior to saying that you are our City Marshal, what was your title?
Code enforcement officer.
Code enforcement. A lot of people have become familiar with that name, but recently the city passed the ordinance and implemented going back to, I guess, days of old when we used to have an official City Marshal. So if you would just kind of tell everyone what is your position with the City of Douglas and what exactly is the Marshal's office?
Well, I am the City of Douglas City Marshal. If you go back in the history of time, the City Marshal used to be what is known as the Chief of Police these days. Well, as time's progressed and we moved forward, they actually started their own law enforcement agency as the Chief of Police and the Police Department and so on. And the City Marshals actually stepped to the wayside and went down and mainly dealt with city ordinances, building codes, and such as that. So bringing back the needs that we foresee in the city and the issues going on with the City of Douglas, Mayor and Commission decided to bring back the City Marshals as its own law enforcement agency, and we separated from the Police Department.
Now, when you mention like you have some of the, I guess, same governing authorities like the Police Department, explain that to everyone. What all do you have the right to do?
A City Marshal has the full arrest powers just like a regular police officer or deputy sheriff. So we can make arrests, issue citations, and for all the laws in the state and the regulations going on with the city ordinances too.
So by going back, naming from code enforcement to City Marshal gives you, I guess, more credibility and authority?
In a sense, yes.
In a sense?
When people hear the word code enforcement or the title code enforcement, they relate it to a civilian position, not as a law enforcement position.
Well, tell us about the qualification. What does it take to be a City Marshal versus a code enforcement officer?
Well, you have to be 21 years of age. And then you have to also be a certified police officer or a post-certified officer. And then you work towards getting your different levels of code enforcement certification. Also been with in code enforcement and city marshals, we attend environmental training, like asbestos training, working on mold and mildew training.
So you can test for that if you all sense a problem whenever you go around doing inspections?
On asbestos at this time we can.
Okay. But you're going to grow into the other areas now that you're
Right.
in Marshal's office. That's
Right.
great. That's great. What are some of the common violations that you see when you're out? I know y'all have to go out and do inspections and just
Right.
kind of, you may get calls, but what are some of the top things that you see?
Some of the top things we see and the complaints we receive is overgrowth of grass. City ordinance says that you cannot let your grass grow more than 12 inches high. Litter, that's become a big problem in the City of Douglas, and we've been getting really aggressive on littering. We actually got cameras that we put up in problem areas to actually catch people littering.
Well, let me back up a moment, Rodger. When you say like overgrowth of grass, is it commonly what people who actually reside in the residence, or is it people who have the property and they live somewhere out of town?
It's a little bit of both. We have some people that just do not think they have to mow their grass. And it is a very important issue because it becomes where you have rodent problems, rat problems, infestation of bugs that, you know, that live in this high grass. So it's really
So then
important.
when that happened, do you have an added citation on top of the overgrown grass? Now it's a rodent problem?
It can move towards
All
that.
in the same, wow. So what would you recommend that someone do? I know, of course, if you live there, keep your grass cut. But if someone is out of town, is it best for them to try to contract out with someone local, keep it up, or?
Yes, you know, even with most businesses, if you have it on a regularly maintained schedule, it's cheaper for you to have it done. Then you do not have this issue with overgrowth of grass, which leads into other violations, and it leads into, I hate to say, homeless situations, people vandalizing the home. They see it's not being taken care of. Then you end up, house gets in a dilapidated state. Then it gets into a problem where we'll have to get court orders to make you demolish the structure.
Wow, so not cutting grass can lead to a lot of other things.
That's correct.
Now, when you mention about the problem, one of the top problems with litter, what's going on there? Are people illegally, what we call illegally dumping?
Yes, you know, it goes a little bit of both ways. Just the other day, we was just going down Peterson Avenue, myself and Deputy Marshal Williams, and we saw a gentleman just roll down his window and chunk paper out right in the middle of downtown. So, you know, we was able to stop him and issue him a citation for this. We also have problems in areas where illegal dumping is occurring. You know, anywhere from we've had old coolers, old tires, mattresses, even old wooden table that we've actually caught people, you know, on the cameras throwing out.
Wow. So I guess they need to find out the right places to dump some of these items. I don't know if this is the items we categorize as brown and white goods.
Right, and you know, the city offers the service of the free junk on the first Saturday of every month at the city pole yard, which is next to the post office, and they can take their light bill or utility bill rather, and take it down to the things to the pole yard and dump it for free.
What are some of the other top problems you see?
Inoperable vehicles. There's a lot of people who are hanging on to vehicles that is not running, or they were running when they parked them. That over time progressive, tires go flat, weeds grow. We get back to the overgrowth of grass. Weeds grow up around them. They don't have tags on their vehicles, so we see a lot of that.
Okay. Any other top priorities?
Some of the main issues we hitting. People don't realize that it causes a lot of blight, causes a lot of litter, is the trash cans left on the side of the road. You know, city ordinance says you're supposed to sit your trash can out at 6 a.m., then have it removed by 6 p.m. the following day. And therefore, you know, what happens is when you leave your trash cans out there, some of the trash, when you go back and leave it on the side of the road, it gets blowed over. Animals knock over your trash can, then the litter gets spread out through the neighborhood.
Well, these different things that you're mentioning as top priorities and things that you see, I guess kind of initiated this program that you all started about a year or so ago called Operation Quality of Life.
That's correct.
And some residents and business owners may look at it like, where are they coming around and they're picking on me? But your office is very important in what you do because it helps to maintain a certain level of quality of life to our community. Whenever a new industry or people just riding through, who wants to see all that litter on the road? And if you don't have some kind of laws in place or ordinances in place to keep all the junk from accumulating in the yard, you know, then what would be the order of things? So tell us about the Operation Quality of Life that you all started, I guess, is it true, about a year ago?
About a year,
and the
yes,
purpose behind it and kind of what you do and how often.
Operation Quality of Life is where we team up with the department heads of the city. We team up with the police department, the fire department, the building inspector joins us in along with animal control. Each time we do a quality of life, we try to go to one section of town. When I say section of town, we use the actual patrol beats that the police department has. And this broke down into 4 areas. So we'll all get together, have a meeting, and we'll discuss what's the major issues in these certain areas. Then we'll go out street by street, knocking on doors, and educating the public about what's the violations, why are we here, and what they can do to correct it.
And if you're out there, if you see anything, they may get cited, or like you say, just maybe just a little warning.
Right. We try to, give them a warning notice and to give them time period to comply. We follow back up with it. And used to, we had to go through a lengthy process to take them to court.
Right.
The city mayor and commission has recently allowed us to amend the ordinance where instead of having to go through that lengthy process, we can issue a citation just like if you was getting issued a traffic citation.
So I know we talked about things that you see that are top priorities, but what kind of calls do you get from the community that they're concerned about?
Again, some of the biggest issues is the overgrowth of grass.
The same that you all
The
noticed.
accumulation of junk at their neighbor's house. Or people just setting stuff out beside the road thinking that the city's going to pick it up, and they do not. And so that's when we have the free junk drop-off days. And so animal control, we get a lot of calls about animals, dogs,
stray animals.
and cats or abandoned animals, and dogs on chains.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal to actually tether a dog inside the city limits.
I know there was a whole campaign a year or so ago about that. You
That is
all
correct.
went around checking on that. Now, your office also handles occupational tax licenses.
Right.
Tell us about the different licenses you
Well,
offer.
occupational tax used to be known as a business license. So we handle that. And a lot of your businesses and regulations, they're state mandated requirements that you must have prior to coming and getting your occupational tax. So with these state regulations, if you don't have it, we cannot issue a business license. Or we enforce, the violations where people are operating a business without an occupational tax certificate. We also issue alcoholic beverage license. That's a regulatory license, and we have to make sure that you do, again, follow all the state laws and the state regulations dealing with alcoholic beverages.
Are those the two main licenses or only two licenses that you issue?
We have a regulatory license that we issue in conjunction with the police department for records who wants to be on the rotation list.
Okay, now if someone was doing like home additions to the home, extensions or what have you, they also have to go through your office?
Well,
Electrical, plumbing, major?
They go through the building inspection office.
Okay.
And we assist the building inspector with issuing the permits, going out and checking to make sure it's done correctly. Are they properly permitted? Are they legally able to do the job that they're supposed to be doing?
Now the building inspector though, that's under the city marshal's office?
No, that's actually up under community development.
Oh, okay. All right, what are some of the goals of, cause newly you come from code enforcement, here you are now back city marshal, so what goals do you have in mind?
As being in patrol and investigations prior with the police department, I did not ever see where, the codes worked hand in hand. Now, since I've been with the city code enforcement, now city marshals, I see where code enforcement is a big responsibility. Once you have a neighborhood that starts to deteriorate or go down, you have the criminal element to come in. So I want to strive to make sure that we have the best quality of life for our citizens, to make sure that they don't have to worry about what's going on at the neighbor's house or who might be staying in an empty vacant house that's next door to them.
Well, Rodger, talk to us about signage around Douglas, because I know I recently had a conversation myself with DOT, and a lot of people call our office wanting to inquire about event signs, banners, wanting to put them up
Right.
at different intersections on the right-of-way. What's the law with that?
Well, you're not supposed to put out, the signs on the city right-of-way or the state right-of-way. DOT, as you know, has tightened up their restrictions about placing the signs out on the right-of-way, and they will remove them or call us to remove them, and you can be fined for actually placing the signs out on the right-of-way.
Well, what about signs like that's not on the right-of-way, like people put up for yard sales and, different things of that sort?
We do have a problem with the yard sale signs. People who hold the yard sales, they'll actually put out their signs, directing people where to go for the yard sales, but they don't ever go back and pick up these signs.
Go back, people, get those signs.
If you don't, we can consider that litter and actually issue a citation. Because, the city also has problems, and it costs the city money by having to pay staff to go pick them up, or when we are mowing the right-of-ways, you know.
That's true.
Leon, when he's, you know, cutting grass, he has to stop, move the signs out of the way. So
Wow. So y'all find that happening quite a bit.
it's getting more and more prevalent.
What about the digital signs and any other type of commercial signage that people put up for, I guess, permanent or long-term? The procedure that they should go through before they even think about putting the sign up?
They need to contact, you know, my office and make sure that in the Unified Land Development Code that they can place it where they'd like to place it. There's rules and regulations how many signs, you know, like billboard signs or advertising signs that can be there, and how far that they can be apart from each other. And if it's on a DOT right-of-way, they also regulate off-site advertisement on these signs.
So someone can save themselves a lot of money if they would just call your office in advance.
That is correct. We've actually had one individual that had purchased some land in hopes to start a business, but it wasn't zoned correctly for, you know, to start that business. So therefore he had to back up and punt. And, you know, that costed him, you know, additional resources and money after he was not able to do what he needed to do.
Wow. Well, we know that with summertime being here, people are out and in the pools and all, and you even have regulations that people need to know about for swimming pools. Talk to us about that.
The state law refers to, or the state codes refers to them, swimming pools as water vessels. So any water vessel that you have in your yard, you know, is regulated. You're actually supposed to have a fence around it with a self-locking gate, and it cannot be in the front yard of your residence. It has to be in the backyard. And we're starting to see a lot of that as time goes on. So, you know, be sure that you have, you know, your pools locked up or drained after you get through with them.
Now, Roger, is that for above ground or in ground
That's
pools?
for any size pool.
Any size, the kiddie pools, everything.
The best thing for, you know, the kiddie pools is after you get through using them, drain them. You know, one thing, if you keep the water in there and you don't keep them bleached, you know, your child can get infections from it. It also is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So it's best that with the small kiddie pools that you drain them. Say if a small kid was running in the yard and tripped and fell in, and, you know, he could actually drown inside the kiddie pools.
All right, so it's best to be safe and
It's
put
best to
them
be
in the
safe.
proper place and properly secure them.
That's correct.
Well, anything else you want to share with us today before you leave? You gave us a lot of information.
Now, if anybody has any questions about anything they talk to us about, feel free to call my office. My number is 912-389-3462. They can also visit the City of Douglas webpage at cityofdouglas.com, and they can click on, you know, the Code Enforcement Department, and also they can click on the section there for codes and ordinances.
That's correct.
And they can read the ordinances themselves.
All right. Well, thank you for being here today and providing us with some information, save us some money and out of trouble.
Oh, I'm here to do my best for you.
And keep us safe.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back with more Douglas on My Mind right after this break. We're back from break, and joining me on the show now is Casey Wright, who is the Assistant Fire Chief. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Miss Georgia.
Glad to have you here. We decided to have you on because we know the 4th of July holiday is approaching, and it's one of the times of year that people get fireworks. And also we wanted you on the show to talk about grill safety as well. Because people are out and grilling and
it's
everything.
That time of year.
Tis the season, tis the season. So what we'll do, we'll start out first talking about fireworks safety. As people go to buy fireworks, what are some of the tips they should keep in mind?
One of the biggest things I could think of is don't overstay your welcome. In other words, know what you're getting, know how to use what you're getting. And if you don't know, simply read the directions and look at that. Don't spend a lot of money on something you don't know how to operate. That's when it becomes really dangerous, when we don't understand the mechanics of a fireworks. So everyone that you can buy over the counter now has directions on the side of it. So read those directions and pay attention and do what it says to do.
Well, let's talk about some of the safeties. If me, an average citizen, I'm at my home or location, excuse me, and I want to, you know, fire up some fireworks or pop them or whatever the proper name is, what should I first do to make sure I'm in the right clearing and that sort of thing?
It's pretty simple. Of course, you need to be outside.
Oh, yeah.
You hate to say it, but you got to cover all your bases. So you need to be outside. Make sure you're away from the woods. Make sure you're away from homes, vehicles. If you have pets pinned up or anything, you don't want to do it right next to a dog pen because it's going to terrify the animals. So make sure you're out in the open. Make sure you got good clear area, not a lot of shrubbery around, and just recognize your surroundings and make sure that you're in a safe area. It is explosive. Even a small amount of explosive is still an explosive. So we want to make sure we're in a safe area.
That's true. And we know some things just don't go together.
That's right.
Even people can look at it, well, excuse me, these just amateur fireworks. I'm at home, so I'm just going to pop me a cold one and have a little drink. Drinking and fireworks.
Number one cause of personal injury. The number one cause of injury is alcohol involved firework mishaps. It's like our courage in a bottle. They get the bit deeper the bottle is, the more courage they seem to find. And what happens is before long, instead of paying attention and using our head, we're acting a fool was a nice way of saying it, and we end up getting hurt. And so if you want to have that adult beverage, you have it, but wait till we're through with the fireworks show. Be safe first and then enjoy your drinks.
Is there a certain, I guess, a device to light with instead of a match versus a flick lighter or one of those extended one? The
best thing we found is an extended lighter. An extended lighter. That way you can keep your hand back because you know even a small firecracker, when you light that fuse, it immediately emits sparks and heat, and you don't want that on your fingers, and it'll cause you to snatch away and knock over your discharge. So a long extended firework or lighter would be best.
So I know some people, we were just talking about lighting them, some of the little, I guess the little firecracker things are designed to kind of hold in your hand and light and throw. You see a lot of accidents with those?
People don't realize this, and one of the main things, and I'm a parent and you're a parent, and we want our kids to have fun.
Right.
We want them to enjoy the 4th of July and the season, and those little sparklers.
Yeah.
We all like a sparkler. Every kid
I know
running
the
around.
one you're talking about.
And I done it as a child, and I'm sort of ashamed to say this, but even my children's done it. But 3 of those burning together is as hot as a propane torch.
Oh, really?
People don't realize how hot they get, and that could do
run around with it.
that could do a lot of damage to a small hand. It could do a lot of damage to a hand size of mine, and certainly to a small child. It could do a lot of damage and really fast. So you really need to be careful. Even the smallest, what seems like a small firework. Again, a small amount of gunpowder is still gunpowder.
Yeah.
And anything that can make a boom is an explosive. So it's still dangerous. And even the small ones, you have to pay attention. Don't ever hold one in your hand.
Yeah. So when people go to light them, sometimes I've seen this too, where people tend to light more than one at one time.
No, ma'am. You need like one explosive. I know today we buy a box that'll have 15, 20, 25 shots. Some of them you have a little canister, you drop a ball down in. The state laws have changed, and we can have those now in Georgia. If you have that, there's always one fuse on one device, and the reason for that is you only need to light one at a time.
Okay.
You need to light that one and back away and let it do its thing and go light you another one, because unless you're a trained professional, it gets too dangerous with too many going off at one time.
Okay, any other tips? I know I was reading some of your information that you sent, and it was saying there's a certain way to even dispose of the fireworks.
Absolutely right. If you have, let's say you got fireworks set up and we light one and it don't go off.
Okay.
What do I do with it? A lot of people want to run up and relight it. That's another major incident area, is where about the time you lean over it, it goes off. So if you have that, you need to let it sit for at least 20 minutes, untouched, unbothered. Then you need to have some kind of drum or pail of water that you can set that whole thing over in and let it sit there overnight to defuse that explosive, because about the time you reach for it to relight it, within that 20-minute period is when it's going to go back off and it's going to hit you in the face. Another thing you always do, eye protection. Anything that makes a boom again and it flies up, we see these pretty little trails. It looks great, but it's also, that's gunpowder and different metal flakes that's creating that sparkle. And when that stuff flies, it gets in your eye. So at least wear eye protection. A pair of sunglasses, safety glasses of some sort to protect your eyes. And it's always a great idea to have a bucket of water and a charged water hose with water pressure on it close by. So if something does get out, you can put it out immediately.
That's good information. Now, I know the one who's doing the lighting have to be in great shape because they got to run.
Yeah, they got to run.
So the spectators who are watching, is there a certain distance that they should stay away from the actual launch site of the fireworks?
I don't have an actual rule,
Okay.
but I would say at least 75 or 100 feet. Because if something was to happen and it's to tilt over, that thing's going to come out, and it's coming out at a great speed. So if you're just watching the show, you want enough time to get away from that explosive and make room for it to go by you instead of get hit right in the chest.
Well, I feel like the person who's lighting need to have great speed running and some kind of shield also.
He does, but that's where the alcohol comes back in. A lot of them has too much alcohol and they slow way down.
Yes,
so,
yes. Well, anything else about the fireworks safety?
Just be mindful of what you're doing. I mean, most accidents happen are simply that. They're an accident. But with that in mind, a lot of accidents, 99% of accidents are avoidable. So you just have to be careful. You just have to, again, know what you're doing, know your equipment, read the instructions, follow those instructions, and make sure you're as safe as possible.
Okay. Well, you're here also to talk about some grilling safety tips, and we know that people are out now ever since springtime grilling, and some people grill year-round. Tell us some tips about grilling. I guess first we'll start with, where do I put my grill at my house? Most people
want to set the grill up by the house, right under their back porch, right under the eave of the house. And it's simply so I can step in the kitchen and right back out and cook.
Oh yeah, you know that's convenient.
Most people, and we don't like to admit it, but that's sort of the lazy man's way. But that same lazy man most times don't clean out that grill very often because it's a nasty, bad job, because the more we cook, the more grease and fat gets trapped.
True.
Well, what happens is that grill gets hot and all that stuff flares up. And it's flaring up right next to our home, right next to our eaves of our house, right under our porch. So pretty simple. Just make sure it's out in the open where there's not a roof over. If there is going to be a roof over, it needs to be a really tall roof. It needs to be away from your house and no low-hanging branches. Make sure that grill's out in the open so that heat can dissipate up into the atmosphere and not create more problems.
Well, I guess the majority of the decks, I'm just guessing, are wooden decks.
A lot of them, yes.
Is it safe to cook on a wooden deck, or is some steps that can be taken?
I would like to say it like this. If we had a wooden porch, would you load up firewood and set it on fire on top of that wooden porch? No. Why not? Well, if we're not going to build that fire on that wood, why would we build another fire on wood? A fire is still a fire. And anytime we grill, and I love grilled food, matter of fact, I love any kind of food. But if we're building a fire on top of something that's combustible, we're asking it to catch on fire as well. And so it's never a good idea to do it on a wood deck or any wood railings or, again, siding of your house or any eaves, because we're playing with fire, literally.
So once you're finished grilling, you recommend like cleaning that grill in a certain time so, like you say, the grease trappings and stuff won't flare up?
That's right.
Okay, what precautions should people take for that when they're grilling with the grease?
You're going to have drippings. There's nothing we can do about that. That's the natural process of grilling food, and that's a lot of your flavor comes back from that grease getting hot. So we want that to an extent. Problem is we don't want it to build up. So every now and then just take and wipe it out, clean it out. A lot of people have different methods or different means of cleaning their grill because they have their own little special attributes to it. You know, every grill master has his own little touch. But whatever it is, you just need to make sure you keep all that debris out and all that built up grease and excess out, because if it does flare up again, number one, you're going to ruin your food. Number two, you're putting everything around that grill then in a fire hazardous situation.
Well, let's talk about safety tips with like a gas grill versus a coal grill. And now I know they have the pellet ones too.
Right. Well, pellet grills is nice. They're very nice. Thing with them is anytime you burn that pellet, you're still going to have ash that you have to contend with. And any grill, pellet grill, gas grill, electric grill, or wood fire grill, charcoal grill, you're going to have those drippings to contend with. So that pretty well goes nationwide on the grill.
Gotcha.
You're going to have those drippings to deal with, and so you need to clean them out. Gas grill, you need to check those connections. Make sure that hose is connected to the bottle good, your regulator's not leaking, your hose from your bottle and regulator up to your grill needs to be in good condition. Simple as taking a spray bottle with some soapy water and spray it, and just watch. It'll bubble if it's leaking. If it's leaking, you need to get that fixed.
That's a good tip.
You need to get that fixed, because we're fixing a light fire next to a gas leak and we're asking for trouble. If for whatever reason you do those things and you find a leak, just shut your gas back off. You might have to replace that hose, or you might have to replace the regulator. If you turn the gas tank off and it continues to leak, then you have a little more of a problem. That's when you need to call us. Call the fire department immediately, and we'll come around and get that gas tank and try to make it safe for you. Because if the gas won't turn off, it's like a ticking time bomb.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure your gas grill is not leaking. Make sure your hoses work. Other than that, gas is one of the easier ways to cook, because all you have to contend with is the grease drippings. You don't have any ash like you do on a pellet grill. You don't have half-burnt charcoal like you do on a charcoal grill, or wood lumps like you do on a wood grill. A charcoal grill, the biggest thing we see with charcoal grills is we have a habit as a people of wanting everything done now. So we'll light a charcoal grill and we'll use a 10-pound bag of charcoal to cook 2 chicken legs. Or a 25-pound bag to cook 4 chicken legs. And so when we get done, we've got all this charcoal there, and we've got something to do this afternoon, we've got something to do tomorrow. So we just want to clean it out and go, and we shovel it up, and we take it and go dump out in the edge of the woods. Where them coals are still hot, and then we have a woods fire. If you're going to use charcoal, be careful about how you light it. We have these chimneys, charcoal chimneys you can buy at Walmart, Lowe's. You put charcoal in, light with a piece of newspaper. You can even use lighter fluid. There's nothing wrong with lighter fluid, but make sure you use charcoal lighter fluid. You don't need to put gas and different things on your charcoal. Number one, it's bad for your health. Number two, it's very dangerous. If you use lighter fluid, they'll keep it away from children and keep it away from other flammables. So you don't want it getting hot. You don't want to set it up on the edge of your grill as you're cooking, because that can create an issue you don't want.
Oh, yes.
So, but the charcoal, when you get done cooking and you're finished, you need to leave that grill in an open spot and close it up and let that burn out inside the grill. The grill is designed to hold that heat.
Gotcha.
And let it burn completely out. Then as you shovel it out to clean out that grill, wet it, make sure it's out. Put it in a metal tray, and then let it sit for an additional 24 hours in that metal tray or metal bucket before disposing of it.
Wow. So any other best tips or advice you can give for personal safety tips? Wow.
Number one thing goes back to just like with fireworks. Always pay attention to what you're doing. Stay with your grill. If you're going to fire up a grill and you've got a lot of money invested in cooking, you've got a lot of money invested in your meat, you've got a lot of money invested in your seasoning, but you also have a lot of money invested in your home and in your cars and your building and your shelters. Stay with that grill. Keep an eye on it. Never lose contact with it. Keep people away from it that don't need to be up there. Children are inquisitive. They want to see things. They want to do things. Friends come over. They want to get up there by it. Well, what happens is somebody leans up on it, they get burned. Or a child reaches and grabs something, gets burned. Biggest thing, keep people away from it that don't have to be there, and just keep an eye on it. Stay with it and be mindful of what you're doing.
That's great. Well, Chief, we thank you for these tips today. Awesome tips, and we hope everyone abide by them. Anything else on these two subjects you would like to share before you leave?
As far as safety goes, common sense goes a long way. It's great to have a great time. It's great to celebrate the 4th of July and our freedoms here in this country, and we thank God for our freedoms that we do have. But common sense and just being safe and being mindful of others goes so far every day in our everyday safety. And so as long as we do that, follow some simple tips, we can have a great time and still go home safe at the end of the day.
All right. Well, Assistant Fire Chief Casey Wright, thank you for being here today and providing this information.
Thank you, Miss Georgia.
We'll be back with some closing announcements right after this break. Okay, everyone, just want to share some announcements with you before I leave today. Just want to remind everyone that at the Heritage Station Museum, for some time now, they have a temporary exhibit up on Miss Ada Clements Slater. She is the former resident of the Ashley Slater House, and there's a whole exhibit in her honor on display at the Heritage Station Museum. So be sure to go by the museum. It's located at 219 West Ward Street. And the museum is open on Thursday and Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Saturdays from 10 until 2. And while I'm talking about the museum, I like to say that it is currently managed by the Coffee County Historical Society, and they are looking for volunteers. If you would like to volunteer 1, 2, 3, 4 hours here and there of your time, give Carol Morgan a call. You can call our office at 383-0277, and we'll put you in contact with her because they really do need some volunteers at the museum to keep it open. Want to say that the Douglas Coffee County Parks and Recreation Department have a schedule for this swim season. The swimming pool is open, and people can go and participate in open swim, and also you can purchase like a family or individual swim pass to go during separate, like kind of like what's private time. So call the Parks and Recreation office at 384-5978. The next residential community drop-off is coming up on Saturday, July the 1st. It is from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. And as always, it is the first Saturday each month, and it's located across from the across from the post office at the City of Douglas Pole Yard. So this is a great time to clean up around your home, and each month just, take and do your dropping offs over at this location so that you can avoid the land fees that is normally associated with going to our city landfill or the county landfill. So clean up around your home and drop off free. I know myself around our house, we take advantage of this each time we can and get an opportunity to, and we encourage everyone else to do the same. The 4th of July Freedom Fest, which may have a new name before it happens, we're not sure, but it is coordinated this year by the Douglas Exchange Club and the Buck 106.7 FM radio station, is going to be held on Tuesday, July the 4th. The gate will open at 4 p.m. with a concert. Fireworks will be after dark. There's going to be live entertainment and different artists featured this year. And as I said, that has been organized by the Buck 106.7 radio station. They're going to be food and arts and craft vendors. So certainly want everyone to come out. And even this year, the Child Advocacy Center, they're going to have their When Pigs Fly drop. I think our community have become familiar with that fundraiser that they have or event, but this time it will be tied in with the 4th of July, where the helicopter will drop the pigs on the field at 8 p.m. prior to the fireworks. And of course, we're going to have a very creative, explosive show this year with the fireworks, over 35 minutes, over 3,400 explosive, and the way I'm hearing it is going to be coordinated with synchronized music. So something a little different with the fireworks this year. We know that people from different counties come over to watch. Excuse me. So we just want everyone to spread the word and look for something new and exciting this year with the fireworks. And again, that is hosted by the Exchange Club and the Buck 106.7 on July the 4th. The gates open at 4 p.m. Recently, our summer beach bash was rained out, and we have rescheduled this event to coincide with what is called the National Night Out. The National Night Out that's going to take place on August the 1st. So the Summer Beach Bash and National Night Out will be held at Central Square Complex, and the Beach Bash will be on the vacant lot next to City Hall. This is an effort of the Douglas Police Department, just different departments with the City of Douglas, to just bring awareness about crime and kind of like a crime prevention type program. There's going to be a rap concert featuring the gospel rap artist called B Shop. And these festivities will again start at 4 p.m. There's going to be knockerball, hula hoop contests, a sand pit area, bounce houses, water slides, you name it. The safety demonstrations, food vendors, the K-9 demonstrations, just different things will be there on August the 1st. And again, it's at Central Square Complex. And if you want more information, call our customer care call center at 384-3302 or just simply dial 311 if you are local. Want to say that Parks and Recreation is also taking registration for football and cheerleading. And if you would like to sign up, give them a call or go by the Parks and Recreation office to get signed up. The City of Douglas, we are hosting, or rather launched a photo contest. And that contest is going on to the fall of this year. And the categories are planes and trains, paws and claws, trees and bees, faces and places, and sights and lights. For the full details on this photo contest, go to our website to the Public Information Office and download the information, or give our office a call at 383-0277. We'll be glad to get you more information and would love to have you to participate in this photo contest. It's our first time launching it, and once we pick a winner, there's a prize associated with it, and you'll have recognition at the City Commission meeting and other status to come along with it. So those are the announcements that I have for this month. And as always, we thank you for watching Douglas on My Mind. And be sure to share with someone. If you have family or friends who live out of town, they can always go back and watch this show on our YouTube channel. City of Douglas GA is our YouTube channel. We encourage everyone to follow us as well on social media. We have a Twitter account and we're on Facebook. And we also have an Instagram account and the YouTube. So that's about all the social media we could do, along with our website. But those are just ways that we have to keep you informed of what's going on within the City of Douglas. And like I said, with those out of town that have a vested interest in this community, we invite them to stay in tune with us as well. That's it for this week. And as always, thank you for watching Douglas on My Mind.